next, I want to ask for your thoughts on live versus pre-recorded webinars. I know a lot of people have strong feelings here. They either do one or the other more predominantly. People on the chat, if you have things you want to talk about pre-recorded or live, definitely drop in Q&A. But Arianna, what are your thoughts on the pre-recorded versus live conversation? How do you decide on that?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lindsay. And like you said, there's certainly strong opinions on both sides of this. We've actually tried both at Uber for Business, a live webinar versus pre-recording. We actually prefer pre-recording. The reason is that I've personally attended webinars where in real time, when they're live, there could be technical difficulties, and sometimes that could compromise the quality of the webinar or result in delays. As registrants and attendees, time is important. All of you watching, all of your time is important. And so I want to make sure that we're delivering the information that you need to know without any risk of technical difficulties while still maintaining, it is still live, but, it is pre-recorded to help eliminate the absence of any technical issues.
Yeah, I think a lot of that anxiety really stems back from 2020, at the height of the pandemic, when everyone was doing virtual events and the load was so heavy on these platforms that we were seeing a lot of difficulties. So I think we're kind of still carrying that in the back of our minds. But I'll echo what Arianna said, pre-recording is also my preference. I think there's a time and place for both methods, but I think pre-recording also takes a lot of pressure off of speakers. So there's a little bit of a safety net because it is live, and getting on a webinars can be a little bit daunting for speakers. So knowing that, we're pre-recording with a week or so before the actual live event can be very helpful for speakers. With that said, even with pre-recorded webinars, there is still, as Arianna mentioned, we are airing them as if they are live. So there is still that potential for something to go wrong. So at Iron Horse, we help our clients by making sure that everything runs smoothly. A lot of times it is if an attendee has a technical difficulty. So for example, they're saying, hey, I can't hear the webinar or I can't see the slides. And we're on and helping them kind of troubleshoot the best practices, what browser are you using, refresh your page, stuff like that, so we can make sure that they're up and running on the webinar and we don't leave a bad taste in their mouth if they were to have a problem with the session that we're hosting. And we're lucky in the sense that we use Goldcast and their support is really, really great. I want to say the SLA is under 60 seconds for support when the session is live. So you know that you're going to get a response super quickly. And at Iron Horse, we have a really strong relationship with Goldcast. We're lucky to have. So we feel really secure and comfortable going into a session that's live too.
And I think one thing to add too, we also have a great relationship with Goldcast, as we do with Iron Horse. And we're a small but mighty team on the Uber for Business marketing side. And as a result, knowing that we could rely on Iron Horse to help make sure that the technical difficulties on the back end are working as expected and acting truly as an extension of our team is hugely helpful to making sure that our webinars are going off without a hitch while still delivering that valuable content we want to give to our audience.
Yeah. Just to hop in here one more time, Lindsay, another thing that's important to make sure of is your speakers connectivity. So we also make sure to do tech checks with speakers before a session. So regardless if it's live or pre-recorded, we want to make sure that both the speakers are confident that their connection is not going to all of a sudden drop. And also we're confident that the speakers are going to be in a good location to record. It just makes everybody feel a lot more at ease going into the recording day or the live webinar day.
Yes, and that is crucial to success, is to have those speakers feeling calm and confident and ready to present on whatever they're presenting on. So love all those tips. I want to ask kind of one rogue question that might not be on a run of show, but for anyone who hasn't done a pre-recorded webinar before and might want to try it out, any tips or any guidance on that first time? Because it's probably a little different than running something live.
Yeah. I'll take this first, Arianna. I think that what's big for us is really urging with the speakers to pretend like it's live, because I think a lot of times if you're going into a pre-record and there's less stress and pressure, sometimes there's less energy as well. So that could be a con, but we just want to make sure that they're pretending like there's an audience watching, so they keep their energy up. They're practicing active listening. They're, you know, nodding their head, smiling as we go, to make sure that it's super engaging for the audience, because we don't want it to come across as a previously recorded session.
Yeah. And I think another piece I'd add, absolutely pretending that it's live, and also just maintaining contact with, with the camera here. I think that's just a general best practice. I think sometimes folks will have a tendency, whether they're referencing some data points and they're looking off to the side, or they're looking at fellow speakers. And I think looking at fellow speakers is right. But when you're actually, presenting and speaking, just a general best practice is, make eye contact with the cameras. That's the other piece I would add.